Hello and welcome to Election Brief with me, Araba Kumsin. Coming up in this edition, Majority Leader in Parliament, Agyeman-Manu, criticizes former President John Mahama over his promise to pay salaries to Assembly members, describing the pledge as unconstitutional.
It cannot be done by any president. That promise cannot be done by any president. No presidential candidate can go about making promises.
Also, the opposition NDC wants the Electoral Commission to take action against its officials who registered as voters, as some 66 persons currently in the custody of the police.
The evidence is too overwhelming that there is nothing they can do about it. I'm sure if the Electoral Commission itself has known this fact, they will not even be permitting investigation because we know where they stand. So I'm urging the Electoral Commission, the Ghana Police Service, and the immigration and then including the press, to pursue this matter to its logical conclusion.
Also in this edition, Convention People's Party fights over accusations that its national executives and leading members of the party are flirting with the NPP and NDC, thus losing its independence.
Pocket of the NDC, do they have a pocket to put somebody like me inside?
How about the NPP?
Not at all. Why should we? How can somebody be in a pocket of somebody? Or maybe somebody will say somebody is going to sell as if we are goats. If they are taking them somewhere, they ask, where are you taking me to?
And also, government to deliver 11 health facilities before election 2020. We are live with our reporter on the ground as President Boadu casts sword for the construction of a 400-bed facility at Kolebu. We're live from our studios here at Kokomimne on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. Stay with us. Thanks for joining us. Now, Majority Leader in Parliament, Agyeman-Manu, says promises by President John Mahama that Assembly members will be paid salaries if he wins the December elections is unconstitutional. He says the former president has no power to pay Assembly members because the Constitution is categorical that their emoluments would have to be paid by the district assemblies. He says the power to change the Constitution lies in the hands of Parliament and not a president.
The Speaker, Article 250 sub 2 provides the emolument of a presiding member of a district assembly and other members of the assembly shall be determined by the district assembly and paid out of the assembly's own resources. The Speaker, this is a constitutional provision. Of late, we are hearing of presidential aspirants saying that vote for us. We will come and make provision for you and pay you. Where are you going to get the money from? Mr. Speaker, it cannot be done by any president. That promise cannot be done by any president. To the extent that we have Article 252, that has not been amended. Mr. Speaker, so to the extent that it is not been amended, no presidential candidate can go about making promises. Amend it first. If you want to amend it first. You cannot jump the cart and say that, vote for me when I come, I'm going to pay you. Where are you going to get the money from? Mr. Speaker, we should be serious with ourselves as a nation. We should be serious with ourselves as a nation.
But Minority Chief Whip in Parliament, Muntaka Mubarak, says the former president's statement is a word of intent and that he will amend the Constitution to allow for that. But the Majority Leader insists unless the Constitution is changed, the former president would not be making such promises. Listen to their exchanges on the floor of the House yesterday.
A number of times we've seen the Minister of Finance come to this floor and during budget presentation make announcement about taxes. And after he has done that, then he later comes to amend the law to accommodate what he's saying. So to claim that you have to change the law before you make a pronouncement is not right. He knows that. Many times, even through the State of the Nation, the president comes to make pronouncement and the budget and sometimes laws are amended to accommodate what he's saying. If he doesn't believe in what somebody is promising, that one is entitled to himself. But to say that it cannot be done, Remember, Article 250 is not an entrenched clause. And even entrenched clauses are changed sometimes through referendum. So don't create an impression that those things cannot be changed. You don't believe in it, stay with that, but don't say it cannot be done. Thank you.
You're still here on Election Brief. Now, the Catholic Bishops' Conference has charged President Boadu to ensure a level playing field for all candidates going into the December polls. This forms part of measures proposed by the conference to ensure a stable country after the polls. It was contained in a letter signed by the President of the Catholic Bishops' Conference, Most Reverend Philip Name, and here are excerpts of that particular statement. It says, the presidency holds in its hands the people's trust and must ensure that citizens live in conditions of adequate peace and security, and also ensure a level playing field for all contestants, political parties and candidates in the December 2020 elections. The Electoral Commission of Ghana is to ensure an electoral process that is free, fair and transparent for all political parties and candidates in order to prevent people who may feel unfairly treated resorting to violence. The security agencies, especially the National Election Security Task Force, whose special duty it is to ensure that the nation goes to the 2020 elections and comes out of it in peace and tranquility. Civil society organizations should intensify voter and civic education, help monitor the election processes and conduct, call attention to errant behaviors and whatever would undermine the noble values of peace, tranquility and political development of the nation. And they appeal to all Ghanaians to uphold the highest and noblest of ethics and good conduct, and of course to observe religiously all the COVID-19 hygienic protocols. So Secretary General to the Bishops' Conference, Father Lazarus Ananda, joins us via Zoom. Many thanks for your time, sir. Is it the view of the bishops that there is...
No sound. No.
Please unmute your microphone. Can you hear me now, sir? All right. Is it the view of the bishops that there's an uneven level playing field?
I think that this period in which we find ourselves, the bishops found it very important to issue this pastoral letter as a way of also admonishing the people of Ghana so that we can create a very enabling environment for smooth, free, fair elections to take place. And if you look at the statement in general, it applies to all sectors of society. And so for the Electoral Commission, they are just admonishing them that in all that they do, they must ensure that they create a level playing field for all participants, for all competitors, so that people do not feel that they are not being treated fairly. So it is a general admonition to the Electoral Commission.
And sir, beyond this letter, what would you do to ensure that the measures that you have proposed are implemented?
Yeah, if you look at the letter, I mean, it assigns rules for the various sectors of society. And so for the faith-based organizations, if you look at it, it talks about some of the things that they have to do in terms of not predicting elections and prophesying, I mean, claiming to have prophecies that will foretell who is to win the elections and what have you. Our mission will be to continue to pray for a peaceful society, and also to continue to point out things that may be going wrong. And I believe the bishops, they are fathers also. So they have every reason to admonish their children if they realize that some people are not going the way that, that will help bring about peaceful, free and fair elections in the country.
The Electoral Commission just recently completed the voters' registration exercise. There are those who say that it was necessary and that the Commission has been vindicated. I'm curious, what are your own thoughts? By you, I mean the conference, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, their own assessment of the exercise.
Well, assessment of the exercise, I think so far, well, the whole thing has completed. And we are very glad that it has completed successfully. But we also know that everything did not go well. And in the statement that we have just made, I think it has been pointed out that there were some infractions. And we don't want such infractions to continue. And in fact, if things continue to manifest themselves, as we have seen in the voters' registration exercise, especially in the area of vigilantism, I think that it will not order well for us. So on the whole, we are happy that the exercise has ended, but I think it's just the beginning. There is more work to be done. And that is why the bishops have come out with this pastoral letter admonishing that the mistakes that we have made during the voters' registration exercise, we should not repeat them. Otherwise, it will not be good for us as a country.
Many thanks. That's Reverend Father Lazarus Anondi. He's with the Catholic Bishops' Conference. This is Election Brief. And still on that issue, governance and political experts say the outcome of the just-ended voters' registration exercise has vindicated the Electoral Commission for its resolve to compile a new electoral roll. The commission faced opposition from political parties, including the NDC, as well as some civil society institutions like Imani Ghana, for its decision. But speaking with Evans Mensah on PM Express on the JoyNews channel, coordinator of Election Observer Group, Kodeo, Albert Ahin, said the EC's action was justified.
16.9 million. The projection or the estimation made by the EC originally was, I think, about 15 million.
15 million, yes.
And then the registration exercise, the last election, where we did the unit committee elections and the other one, the register stood at about 16.4.
Okay.
So if we now have
16.8.
16.8, yeah. Okay. If the new registration has given us this figure of 16.9, then I would say that it was worth going into the new registration exercise. Because one would have thought that we're going to exceed this number. So it straight away tells us that we may have done away with a lot of the dead names. We may have, been able to do away with a lot of the ghost names or whatever, whether it's foreigners, whichever. So I think that 16.9 as against 16.8 gives a true figure or a true interpretation of what is actually obtained on the ground, insofar as this registration is concerned. By my estimation, they have been vindicated.
Now, on his part, research fellow at the Institute of Democratic Governance, Kwesi Jonah, was of the opinion that the register had been cleaned of names of deceased persons.
If you go by the estimate of the GSS, Ghana Statistical Service, approximately 17.1 million Ghanaians are above the age of 18 and above. So by the Ghana Statistical Service estimate, we have 17.1 million who are 18 and above. And so even though the EC itself estimated roughly 15 million and so on and so forth, the figure they have obtained now is still well below the Ghana Statistical Service estimate of 17.1 million. Impressive. But what is equally impressive is the fact that whereas if we had not conducted this new registration exercise, the names of deceased people would still have remained on the register. Now all those names have been cleaned. Unless somebody from Awudome Cemetery coming to register, I would like to believe that the dead people's names have been completely erased from this register, and that is very, very positive. I think altogether, the figure that Dr. Kweku is mentioning, it's itself very impressive. They have vindicated, if it is able to take into account the violence that has characterized the process, they have vindicated.
Now, pollster Ben Efson also agrees with the EC's assertion that the previous electoral roll was bloated. He spoke on News Desk with Bernice Abubedu Lanza.
The figure for this proves that the 2016 register had a problem. Because 2016, there was 16 million. On the average, between 900,000 and 1 million people get on the voter register every year. So if they had added to the 2016, we'll be having about 18.5, 19 million. And for a population of about estimated to be 31 million, would have been too much. So, and like the EC themselves have said, I don't think that we'll be having such a massive voter registration again because, one, if you look at those who use instruments to register, 60% use Ghana card. So I presume that by 2024, we should have about 90% having Ghana card. And with the way this has been done, every year when the voters register is opened, so the country is likely to save so much money at a massive voter registration.
Now, our government says it is set to complete 11 health facilities across the country before the end of 2020. Health Minister discloses at the sword-cutting ceremony of a 400-bed maternity and gynecology facility at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital earlier today. Manuel Clarantine is there for us. He joins us via Zoom with more. So, Manuel, what has the Health Minister been saying about this particular facility, how they're going to transform it?
Well, the health minister has been talking about, you know, it formerly was a 161 bed facility, which was in a dilapidated state. And so in the 2018 budget, the government presented that it was going to reconstruct it. I'm sure you'd recall that in March earlier this year, you know, the General Hospital was closed down to ensure that the General Hospital was closed down to ensure that it is reconstructed. That's what we're seeing. But earlier at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, the health minister said that about 11 facilities are going to be built across the country. He mentioned a number of areas, mentioned Sumanya, mentioned Bute, mentioned Tepa, mentioned a number of other areas, and expecting that all of them will be commissioned before the end of the year. He makes a point and emphasizes on saying that all these 11 projects which are expected to be commissioned are not part of the government's Agenda 88 project. So it means that all these 11 projects will be commissioned ahead of the elections before the Agenda 88 also kicks off. You mentioned that all of them are at various levels of completion, and so people should expect that they are commissioned to ensure that the gaps within the health sector are bridged.
Manuel Clarantine with that update from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where the president just cut sword for the construction of a 400-bed facility there. We'll be bringing you more on the polls in our subsequent programs, Newsnight, as well as Joy News Prime. Now, the Convention People's Party is fighting off accusations that its national executives and leading members of the party are flirting with the NPP and NDC, thus making the party lose its independence. Some Ghanaians have written the party off over the recent state of affairs, alleging that it is subject to the control of the two main parties. But acting chairperson for the party, Hajia Hamdatu, is refuting that claim. She spoke to my colleague, Kwesi Parker-Wilson.
When it's not only the CPP members who have been accused before, if you recall, even NPP members and NDC members have been accused in that manner before.
Are you in the pocket of the NDC?
Not pocket of the NDC. Do they have a pocket to put somebody like me inside?
How about the NPP?
Not at all. Why should we? How can somebody be in a pocket of somebody? Or maybe somebody will say somebody is going to sell as if we are goats. If they are taking them somewhere, they ask, where are you taking me to? You see, the eyes does not see itself. If people accuse them, what do they think?
They think we are independent. You're not independent.
Why are we not independent?
They're being controlled by these two.
Why should they control us? Are they writing our manifesto for us? Are they telling us what to say when we go on radio or television? Don't we speak our mind? The issue is that if you say something and it touches the NPP, then they will say, oh, maybe Agyeman or somebody is speaking for the NDC. And if it touches the NDC, it's like that. But man must be principled. If there's an issue on a table, let's look at it with an objective mind. Just no matter the names that people will call you. You understand? So if maybe there's an issue about free HS, and then maybe I say it is good, it is a policy that Nkrumah started, I'm a beneficiary of free education, so if the NPP are saying they are offering free, we started, then blah, blah, blah. And then maybe an NDC person will sit down and say, oh, you see, she's talking for... at times we've been having that banter in the studio. And if I'm accused like that, or maybe my party is accused, I don't take kindly to it at all.
Do you get disappointed?
Not at all, because if I...
Do you get sad?
I get sad because, not because of what they are saying about my party, but not because Nkrumah is front, we are not trying to unite. That is what saddens my heart, not the accusation. Because if it's there are members who were accused some time ago of maybe either being in bed or with NPP or being in bed with NDC. They who said they are the leading political parties, they've been accused on one way or the other. You understand? And let me tell you, Parker, and I'll face the camera and say it. People who are accusing this person as taking this, where did they go to hear those information? What did they go looking for there before they maybe were able to get that information? But one thing as a leader you should be able to do is to mobilize resources. People who have confidence in you. Oh, Hajia, CPP, she's leading CPP. If I'm able to give her 1,000 Ghana cedis, the 1,000 Ghana cedis will benefit the Convention People's Party. That is more important than people who, have you ever heard that I've taken money or cars and put it in money? Have you heard it before?
Now, talking about money, is the CPP broke? You don't have money, clearly.
But we are managing.
Yes, so you are broke.
We are not broke. We are managing.
Agyeman-Manu there. So you heard her. They are managing. They are not broke. Well, the party is set to elect its national and presidential candidates on August 22nd. The acting chairperson, who is vying to become the substantive chairperson and lead the party into the December polls, is asking delegates to vote for loyalty, which she represents.
To reward consistency. I'm not in this party because of position, but I think the delegates of the party, I told them they should look at my loyalty, my commitment, how this party's even office is even run. People don't know. People don't even know who mobilized to pay the rent for a year for us to get an office to be hanging our banners and what have you. But we were even locked up some time back without people even checking who raised money to pay for the party headquarters. So the delegates of the Convention People's Party, we have been tried and tested. We have done a lot for the CPP. And the CPP too has done a lot for us by building our capacity. As I'm sitting here, I've got a bigger platform, Women Academy for Africa. Courtesy CPP, I'm the commissioner in charge of the whole of West Africa. I'm elected until 2023. I went for re-election and I was elected. They said my good works, they cannot change me. So the CPP shouldn't change somebody who is vibrant, somebody who understands the policies of the CPP, somebody who understands both the local and international politics. When it comes to women agenda, I'm a frontliner when it comes to women's agenda in this country. And then when they just take their ballot paper, I'm number one on the ballot.
Oh, you're number one
on the ballot. I'm on top there. Esro. You see Nyankopon. That is it. Allah. So I'm hopeful. The delegates, I don't expect less than 85%. Because I'm telling them that we don't want, the way we don't want I don't want 0 in our polling stations. I don't want any contestant to get 0. That's why some of the delegates have advised that you give this one 1, you give one 2, for the game to be interesting.
You're You're still here on your election headquarters. Now, the opposition NDC wants the Electoral Commission to take action against its officials who registered as voters, some 66 persons currently in the custody of the police. The governing party yesterday accused the opposition NDC of facilitating the registration. John Boadu is General Secretary.
Here in Panda constituency, insisting that with a truckload, and just as they did to you, the media people, instead of them to even pass them, they couldn't pass them. They just got a cab truck and loaded them into it. And was insisting, that's it, and intimidating, and to some extent even insulting the police. This is what he did by insisting that these people must be allowed to vote. Because they were coming in batches, insisting that people who are not qualified, who are not citizens, who may not be resident or ordinary residents in the polling station they want to register, should be allowed to register.
Well, the NDC's General Secretary has dismissed this allegation, insisting the party actually raised red flags regarding the nationalities of these individuals. He wants the commission to probe the matter and deal with its staff who released the voters' card to them despite a pending challenge filed by the NDC.
The issue is that, before the registration, we intercepted a video recording of the Brown East Deputy Regional Minister giving instructions for his vigilante people, and included in the instructions, he said that they should even go and kill. And when they kill, the NPP should rush to do a press conference and put it on NDC. So it is precisely the same thing that Boadu and him. I think that after they have been arrested or they have been involved in this criminal activity, they think that their salvation lies in organizing a press conference and to get it on NDC. But sorry, the evidence is too overwhelming that there is nothing they can do about it. I'm sure if the Electoral Commission itself has known this fact, they will not even be permitting investigation.
And that's a wrap of this edition of Election Brief with me, Araba Gumson. Join us same time tomorrow as we bring you all the happenings on the political front. This is your election headquarters. Up next is Sports Today.